Do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Well, just like me, I want to be close to you. Mwah! To my sweetie pie. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Willie Jolley.
And this is Dee.
And we are here live and in living color today. So many people say, we watch you on the replays of the marriage show. We're amazed. We're amazed. So we want to thank everyone who watches, whether you watch live.
Thank you for watching and for sharing.
And for sharing.
And maybe there's something helpful that we can pass on to you, and you can pass it on.
So thank you. And for first timers, if you just happen to be a first timer, we want to welcome you. I'm Dr. Willie Jolley, and this is my beautiful sidekick for 38 years.
Sidekick. Now you know that's country.
Country. Okay, and let's see, in how many days? 16 days. 16 days, it'd be 38 years. I've been married to this woman. And we're the authors of the book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, 10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage. We want to invite you to join us every Monday night right here, 9 o'clock on a Jolley Marriage Show, the Jolley Marriage Show. And you can get it on YouTube as well anytime you want, 24/7 replays. And we encourage you to go to Jolley Marriage and get the free chapter from the book, as well as watch the TED Talk, How to Never Ever Argue Again in Marriage. All right, let's talk about the topic tonight. The topic, we've gotten a lot of people who've asked us about the same issue, about parenting styles.
Well, we really have not dealt with parenting.
No, we have not dealt with
parenting issues.
So we're dealing with it because we've gotten enough responses from it, from people who want to know what do we recommend. Remember, we want to say again, we are not marriage counselors. We are marriage mentors. Our book is a book of mentorship. So if you're having severe problems, we do recommend marriage counselors. And we do recommend some. There are some people we recommend. Anyway, but we're marriage mentors. Now, mentorship is someone who's done what you want to do and can tell you where to turn, where to not turn, where to join, where to not join, what to make a different thing. So we hope you will enjoy that. Let's talk about the question. Yeah. Different parenting styles
is ruining our marriage.
Help. That's what we got. Our different parenting styles is ruining our marriage. Help. What it is one person might be more of a disciplinarian. One person might be one of the people who say, well, go sit in the corner. Or there are also different parenting styles in terms of, like we had.
I was going to say, let's just go and tell them what happened with us and why we have a particular view on this situation.
All right, which story? But we got a lot of stories.
You pick a story.
Well, mine I'll start with is education.
He was.
Oh, let me do education. You asked me to pick a story.
You were too slow. He was a good time dad.
All right.
We are a blended family. He was a good time dad. He had his daughter during the summers and during holidays. And she hung out with him everywhere, no bedtime. And this was during the summer, so there was no need to have a bedtime, not in school, any of that kind of stuff. And then we got married, and it became our daughter. And I'm a former school teacher, so I'm already anal. And it was a culture shock.
Yes. And she had regiments, very clear regiments. And then we had our son, who we had together, and
who was a baby.
And that poor boy, he had lived under her parenting thumb, her iron fist, his whole life. So we're not talking about that. I'm just talking about the different styles. Okay. I'm easygoing. You are much more iron. She's the iron fist. And now I was going to talk about how we had a difference of opinion on education. We had a
difference of opinion on
a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff when it came
to the kids. Mm-hmm. So there's a school right across the street, less than 90-second walk from our house, elementary school. But my wife said, no, he's going to go to the private school, which is 45 minutes one way.
A Christian school.
Christian school.
Mhm.
That's where he's going to go. And that's free. This was expensive. I said, the boy.
That was our food money.
Yes, it was our food money. So I said, the boy could go across the street. We have a little more money, breathing space. He said, no.
Okay, so we
disagree, but I acquiesced.
Oh, that's a big word.
Acquiesced.
Is that one of your PhD words?
PhD.
Oh my goodness.
And I acquiesced, and she was right. She was right.
Okay, so let's get to so how do we help somebody? There are different parenting
Ooh,
styles.
Willie Larkin asked a good question. Should parents be more of a parent than a friend?
A parent.
Or can they be both?
You might be both.
You might be both. You got to choose which one is
first.
going to be the dominant. And that's what we had to get to. I had to get to.
He had
with
to get
my daughter was because she was like, I was a single dad. She would come and stay with me in the summer. We'd just hang out. I was singing in nightclubs, doing gigs, going to rehearsals, having parties. She just hang out with me. And so we were good, we were just friends. She didn't have any set rules or regulations. I just told her you got to have morals. Now, I was about morality and integrity. And so I remember her getting a spanking one time.
By who?
By me. I had a spanker.
Oh.
When one of her little friends, she was with the friend, and the friend stole something from the store or something. She was in the midst, and she participated by not.
She was an accomplice.
So we capped that in the bud right there. But other than that, there was not a whole lot. So that was one. But other than that, we were good friends. And then she comes to live with us during the school year. I get married to D. Then she comes to live with us during the school year. And soon thereafter.
Culture shock.
It was culture shock.
Now, let me say that the things that we learn through painful experience.
Yes. Yeah.
Like we were talking about this earlier today, and I said, we never really discussed before we got married. Okay, now we're blending families here. And what should be our parenting style? That's such a level of sophistication now. We didn't have a clue.
We didn't talk about that.
No, we did not talk about that.
No.
Which is something that if you're already in the midst of this, we had to talk about it once we got in the midst of it.
And when we were in
the chaos.
Yep. When we was in
so don't feel bad. Nobody comes with all the answers. Now we know in hindsight, before you get married, you should have counseling.
Yeah, you should have premarital counseling.
Premarital counseling.
But that was not possible in our situation. Because you said you weren't going to marry me. There was we had a little bit of counseling from Paul Sadler.
And Paul Sadler said, do you know the boy doesn't have a job?
I went to the bathroom. My dear friend, the preacher, who I brought this lady who I'm trying to coax into marrying me to have a conversation. I go to the bathroom. He said, you know the boy ain't got no job. You're a sophisticated, very lovely lady. You know the boy ain't got no job.
I love Paul and Kim Sadler.
Oh my God.
Outrageous couple. Absolutely.
So anyway, we didn't have the luxury of having real.
We did not plan.
But we weren't planning. She wasn't planning.
I wasn't planning on getting married.
Right.
So our apple cart was upside down.
Upside down.
But in hindsight, if I had planned on getting married, with the knowledge that I have now, I would say definitely premarital counseling.
Okay.
And learning how to communicate. That's the number one thing when you talk about what we give away from our book is everything that I read talks about the challenges with communication.
Yeah.
That makes the difference.
Yeah.
It just so happened that we both come from families that have moms and dads and Christians, and they're not violent people. When I say, sometimes you come from families where people are very belligerent and argumentative, and they talk in a disrespectful fashion. That was not our stories.
No.
So it was easier for us to come together, but there were still a lot of bumps in the road.
Okay, but we did have some systems that helped us, even though we had not talked about it. One, we did not argue about the kids or anything else in front of the kids.
All right, so we talk about communication.
Yep.
Right. Don't argue, don't disagree in front of the kids if you're talking about something that relates to the children. Right. And that can be hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to bite your tongue.
Bite your tongue.
And in our case, the kids went to different schools.
Yes.
When I say different,
well, they're 10 years different.
So it's 10 years different. So one is going to Christian school out in Prince George's County, and we're living in DC. And the other one is going to now what they would call a charter school.
No, they call it not a charter. They would call it a academic school.
An academic high school.
Yeah.
So I dropped kids off.
Mm-hmm.
I would, or you would drop her off.
No, maybe you drop her. You drop them off, her off, and sometimes I pick them up. Sometimes you pick them up, but most times I pick her up.
And sometimes she wouldn't talk to me. She'd be mad. So I was just a chauffeur.
You were the chauffeur.
Mm-hmm. So communication in the sense that our disagreements about how to raise her from this point going forward, I had to learn to bite my tongue because you were a good time dad. And I had to watch you suffer through adjusting your relationship with her.
I had to, and it was tough because I had to shift.
I couldn't be in the middle.
I had to shift from being a good time dad to being the one who was the disciplinarian and shutting down some of the stuff I'd done before.
Right.
And it was hard. It was hard for her. It was hard for me.
And then the question came up about, okay, could you be a disciplinarian if you're a step parent?
That's the question that came up. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about one other question Willie Larkin just brought up about grandparenting. And we got a whole nother, that might be a whole nother show because
grandparenting.
What we have been through as grandparents and some of the situations.
And watching good grandparenting versus challenging it at different phases of life.
Right.
Okay, so get back to.
We're going to come back to that, Willie.
Okay, get back to. So we communicated when we disagreed. If we couldn't be on the same page with what to do with the kids and when and how, and most of it came down to disagreements about our daughter.
Yeah, most of it. But then some with William, but mostly with our daughter.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So we would have those discussions by ourselves.
Do you have any parenting issues with William?
Not really. Because by that time you retired. Okay, D. All right, this is what we're gonna do.
And he was easy.
He was easy because he had watched the challenges.
Yes.
And he thought his parents were a little crazy. By the time William was of the age when he was in elementary school and really starting to understand, and we talked about everything.
Yeah.
Like the time he told he went to Christian school.
Right.
And he told everybody in the class
where children actually come from and how they were created.
Because we had those conversations, we talked about everything, and then we got a call
from the school. The son is giving an anatomy lesson, and not nasty or he just says that's not true. This is how it happens.
So because we were so forthright and had to, in terms of trying to reshape where she was going, William saw a lot. Like the time we turned the bed upside down. I mean, we were actually a little on edge and a little crazy. We had to be.
Right.
And when you see your parent actually flip the bed upside down, you're like, I think they're a little crazy.
Yeah, and he saw that and he said, okay.
He's very diplomatic now. What? What do you
This is a note from a gentleman. I won't call his name because I want to, as we say, we try and keep it anonymous, but he says he's in a relationship. They live together. She downs me a lot. Well, no, not as much now because she's getting help. That's good. She's getting help. Counseling helps everybody because, and the second thing is, if somebody downs you or makes you feel some kind of way, as they say, it's very important that you address it immediately and say, this is how that made me feel.
I was going to say when you, that's the word, when you
do X or Y, this is how that makes me feel.
But when you introduce, if you can just memorize, because sometimes emotionally there's so much going on. When you, if you say when you, and then, oh, okay, if I just memorize that.
Well, main thing is the 4 F's. Friendly, don't be angry, but be frank. When you do this, or when you do that, or when that happened, or when that happened, this is how that made me feel. I'm telling you, folks, this is so profound. This is how they made me feel. Then be fair. Why do you keep doing that? Ask the question, listen, and then be focused on a win-win. Now,
it might not change overnight, though.
It might not, but I see it change quite often. You must make it clear what you are feeling and not pointing at them. You did this, you did that. Here's how that made me feel. I cannot tell you, folks, how much impact it can have. I tell D, I have a dear friend since high school, who said something to me the other day that was very disconcerting. And I had to stop and call her right back and say, hey, this is how that made me feel. And she said, I got to call you back. And she called back and apologized. She said, you were absolutely right. I said, it made me feel such a way. You know, people say, I'm feeling some kind of way, but they don't tell you what that one, they can't define.
Let me say this. That's hard. I don't want to belittle the fact that can be very challenging. You talk for a living. You talk for a living and you think and talk at the same time. Everybody does not have the capacity to do that. I don't have the capacity to think and talk at the same time. Why are you laughing?
Because you said it so funny.
So I'm
thinking,
thinking, and mulling over my words. And some of us who are introverts are like that. We're thinking it and figuring out how to say it. And so it's like our responses are delayed. So it is a struggle for some of us to come up with the right words to say.
I agree.
Okay?
All right.
And to be able to express your feelings, the more we do it, the easier it becomes to do it, but we must do it.
Let's deal with, go back to the point.
Okay.
We can get off. We can, sir, we can get back to that point maybe next week. Send us an email. By the way, folks, if you've got an issue, anything, send us the email, info@williejolly.com, info@WILLIEJOLLEY.com, and say, here's my issue. And that way we can address it anonymously and really go into depth. Now, let's get back to the question at hand, which we've gotten from so many people
different
about
parenting styles,
different
parenting marriage.
Right.
How do we help?
Let's go through. Communicate.
Okay, so
I said don't argue in public or in front of the kids. Number 2.
Okay, I had, as a part of the communication thing, even if you're communicating in private, you must agree as to what the discipline style should be. And that's going to be influenced by the culture that you come from.
That's true, because some
instances,
say, sit in the corner.
The kids get spent. It's like, take that switch. Go out there and get that switch off that tree.
Yeah.
See, I was smart enough. Daddy didn't have to switch my legs because I was, yes, Daddy. What my brother got all the beatings with the switch, the belt, everything else. I mean.
So how that culture, you got to agree on that. What level of discipline are you both agreeing on?
And then you can't go behind their back and say, that's okay. You don't have to do what he said.
Right. No, you can't do that. No.
Because that's undermining.
That's right.
The parental authority. And it really undermines everything because the kids will pit one against the other.
Thank you for sharing that, Yvonne. That you said that this makes me feel that way. This is how it makes me feel. It really has an impact. It really does. It really does. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I have support your spouse in front of the kids. You said that.
Mm-hmm.
Pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
Everything you cannot or you should not fight about.
Right.
Or disagree about.
Right. You can't fight about every issue. I have had to pick my battles or pick the things that were important. Some things I just had to let them go. Like
the fact that you didn't wear pantyhose with the uniform. I had to get over that. I don't want to be.
What?
When Latoya was in the uniform. She's
supposed
to the uniform you have to have, then you had to have stockings. And every time she's like, I don't want to wear them. I don't want to wear it. But she did go to school.
Yeah.
So I had to pick my battles. And being a step parent, I don't want to be the wicked witch of the West. And it's so easy to be the wicked witch of the West when you're a step parent because of the thoughts, the preconceived notions that people have of blended families. That's a whole. We need to do. We need to answer some questions about that.
Right.
That in and of itself is a challenge. Okay.
Right,
then I have. You got to study your children. Each child is so very different.
Yeah.
Certain words you can use with one, you cannot use with the other. And to study their body language. They tell you what they're thinking about.
Yep.
And ask open-ended questions of your children and let them talk.
Yes.
About anything.
Yes.
Like, and also, I had open-ended questions. And also, if at all possible, participate in something that is of value to them.
I gotta give you this. I gotta give you this.
What?
I gotta give you this.
What?
All right, listen to this, folks. I'm going to be speaking this Sunday at the historic, iconic Shiloh Baptist Church, 9th and P Street, Washington, D.C.
You just do it right.
Let me show you. I got it.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk about Father's Day. Here's something my friend Jane Herlong sent to me. I studied about John Edwards, the great Puritan preacher, when I was in seminary. But she sent this to me. Jonathan Edwards was one of the most respected preachers and parents of his day. Attended Yale at the age of 13, later went on to become the president of Princeton, married his wife. They had 11 children, and each night he would spend an hour talking with the family and then praying a blessing over each child. And they passed their values, their thinking on to their children. And out of that legacy, John Edwards' legacy includes 1 U.S. vice president, 1 dean of a law school, 1 dean of a medical school, 3 U.S. senators, 3 governors, 3 mayors, 13 college presidents, 30 judges, 60 doctors, 65 professors, 75 military officers, 80 public housing officers, 100 lawyers, 100 clergymen, and 285 college graduates. He also had another contemporary whose name was Max Jukes, who was also well regarded, well known, but he did not see the same time and energy on his family. He was busy building his career. He didn't spend much time with his family. And as a result of that, his descendants include 7 murderers, 60 thieves, 190 prostitutes, 150 other convicts, 310 paupers, 440 who were physically wrecked by alcohol. And of the 1,200 descendants that were studied, 300 died prematurely of self-inflicted.
This came from Jane?
Yes, it's a study was done.
Share that.
And so the impact
of
time and energy and attention can have. So this is powerful. Okay, let's see. What do you do when your kids try to play pit parents against each other? Oh, wow. Now we haven't had that. We didn't have that with Dee and I because we were always on the same page. Now, we would maybe disagree, but they did not know that. When we came out of the room, we were on the same page. But my daughter's mother and I, Ooh, that was some drama. Until she accepted the Lord. And we were able to talk at another level about how we were going to raise this child from two households. And everything changed. So what do you do when one kid picks one? Is that you must make sure that the two parents are on the same page. You've got to go separately apart, not in front of the children, and get a definitive answer. If it's wishy-washy, if it's room for error, it will be.
I would say you need to acknowledge that the child has more sophistication than the two parents.
There's some smart children.
Wait. Yeah. What did they say to you?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what they said to me. That the child is smart enough to manipulate. That's what it is.
That's right.
So to share that, we have a smart child here.
Yeah, that's right. That happens all the time. And they
what,
play both
right.
ends against
so
the middle.
So to acknowledge that, it's like, oh, okay. Now we've got a smart child here who's trying.
And that's their job. That's their job. They want to get what they want. So you got to be a united force. You got to be a united force, or the children will play each other against the middle. All right. Our time is almost up. Willie Lockett, we're gonna come back hopefully next week about grandparents. But we got a whole thing about grandparenting because his question was, and I want you to write his specific question. I thought it was profound. He said, what suggestion you of incorporating grandparenting into helping you with children? Usually grandparents allow kids to get away with more things. What say you?
Well, you know what? I'll pull up some statistics and stuff for next week. We can deal with that. But I would also say many grandparents are ending up being the parents.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is sad.
Yeah, but now let me just say, Willie, just so you know, my grandson calls. We will talk to him tonight. We talk to him every night after the marriage show. Every Monday night after the marriage show, he calls. He's 22 years old. Now, that said, it's been a journey because
did not start out that way.
Didn't start out well. I had to put him out a year and a half ago, and tell him, get out. But we had put something in him, and his sister helped as well, his older sister, that helped him to come around. So we'll talk more about that and share that.
Accepting what our standards was difficult for him because the environment that he came from was much more liberal.
That's right. I got to share this. Yvonne, I hope you don't mind me reading it. It's so profound. I have shared this many times before. My husband and I will be married 33 years on June 30th. Congratulations. 33 years is a big deal. We always had family time. We talked to our children. We anointed them. Amen. We disciplined them. We're not friends with them. They are our children. Our children didn't see us argue because we don't argue. We didn't argue. We talked to each other. Parents had to come together, work together, and set a standard in their homes. They have to be parents. Bravo, bravo, bravo. You got to be parents.
Summary.
Great summary. That's a great way to close out tonight. Look, my one-man show coming up in Washington starting this Saturday night, the 17th. At 7, go to The Comeback Show. The Comeback Show to get tickets. It is a Broadway-style show of music and motivation, inspiration, entertainment, education, and information that will lift your spirit and make you smile, make you feel better. You'll want to tell everybody you know to come. Come this Saturday. It is at thecomebackshow.com, but we also are going to do it every Saturday the rest of this month and the first 2 Saturdays of July. Thank y'all all for joining us. Thank y'all for a great week.
We're getting to grandparenting.
Grandparenting.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's good. And then last but not least, the TED Talk. Go to jollymarriage.com. Jollymarriage.com. Get the TED Talk. watch it, share it with everybody you know, how to never ever argue again in marriage. Thank y'all. Have a great week on purpose. And we're going to go out with my song that I will be singing at the one-man show close to you.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.